Next on the news, New York City is taking a step towards caring for God's creation, mandating composting throughout the 5 boroughs.
While thousands in the city are getting used to the practice, one parishioner in the Diocese of Brooklyn has been composting for decades. I'm Katie Vasquez, and I'll have tips and tricks from this composting pro coming up.
Pope Francis is in good spirits. The latest health update from the Vatican shows the Holy Father is continuing to recover while he rests at Casa Santa Marta. Plus, some young Catholics from Queens get ready for Easter by recreating Christ's road to Calvary. See their take on the Stations of the Cross. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. The Big Apple is going green. Starting Tuesday, residents have to start composting, separating food waste from their normal trash, or they'll face a fine. But as Currents News' Katie Vasquez reports, the new mandate is a piece of cake for one Brooklyn parishioner.
So we have an apple from this morning's breakfast.
After finishing his breakfast, Thomas Hinchin doesn't throw his scraps in the garbage. He puts them in a special bucket he has on his kitchen counter for composting.
With the city, if it's organic, it can be composted.
Before bringing them out to his yard in this compost tumbler. It's a practice he's been doing for nearly 27 years.
Just general good gardening principles.
Now, all of the Big Apple is joining him. Starting April 1st, New Yorkers can face a $25 fine if they don't separate their trash. Composting is meant for your kitchen food scraps, food soil paper, and dead plants or leaves. It is not meant for paper, glass, or plastic. That still goes in your regular recycling.
My tip is just to start out with doing the little that's required of you. What's required of you is to collect your food scraps and put them in a bin.
It's a move that this St. Andrew the Apostle parishioner applauds.
I was very happy. I think this is where we need to go, and other cities have gone, and other jurisdictions hopefully will go in the future.
Thomas doesn't just compost in his backyard.
Carbons and nitrogens.
But the Prospect Farm garden that he helps with.
It helps the soil retain the moisture.
Although it can get messy, Thomas knows the reward is worth the work.
This will provide nutrition for our plants.
And then you use all this for your garden, right?
We use this for the garden.
And as a faithful Catholic, he knows this work follows the message laid out in the Pope Francis paper Laudato Si, that we must care for God's creation.
If food waste went into landfills, it would be generating methane gas. As the Pope said, we need to be concerned about the generations to come.
And Thomas will keep his commitment to the earth, one scrap of food at a time. In Windsor Terrace, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
Stuff like that.
So once you have your garbage sorted, what happens next? You can store your compost in your freezer, in a bin, or take your scraps to a designated place if you live in an apartment building. There are also 2 community composting locations you can go to: McCarran Park in Brooklyn on Saturdays and the Forest Hills Farmers Market in Queens on Sundays. As Katie mentioned, there is a fine if you don't compost, and if you're wondering how the sanitation department will know if you don't, well, they have a team of inspectors who will go through your garbage to see if you're complying and issue a fine if you're not. To read more about the city's rules and regulations regarding composting, go to nyc.gov. New York State honored hundreds of Vietnam War veterans on Saturday. The ceremonies were held by Suffolk County officials in observance of National Vietnam War Veterans Day, which is March 29th. It was on that day in 1973 that the last of the U.S. combat troops departed South Vietnam. 2 years later, on April 30th, 1975, the war formally came to an end. The event included live performances, food trucks, and a temporary museum showcasing artifacts from the Vietnam War era. A Texas Army veteran who served during the Vietnam War continues to honor his fellow service members. Daniel Meza has transformed his Texas home into a testament to those lost along the way. Currents News' Katie Vasquez has the story.
This is my way of expressing myself.
Daniel Meza's home is a roadmap of his life. Even his garage is filled with the treasures of his journey. From his military experiences serving in the Army during the Vietnam War.
I went in when I was 17. We all served for honor and, for God and country. That's what we served.
To his unstoppable passion for riding motorcycles.
I used to watch a lot of Hell's Angel movies back in the day. They would come out on TV all the time, and I would see all those motorcycles, and I said, man, when I grow up, I'm going to buy me a motorcycle and have my own club,
And that's exactly what he did. Daniel built a collection of bikes, each one a piece of his story.
My son did that with an airbrush.
When his health took a turn, he decided to sell most of his motorcycles.
Man, it hurt, because I've rode since I was 15 years old.
But even as life took away that passion, it couldn't steal his drive. He found new roads to travel, a new purpose to ride towards. The Texas resident turned his proceeds from selling his motorcycles into a legacy, creating this remarkable yard display.
Like 21,000 with delivery.
The statues here honor the people and moments that mean most to him. In this garden of remembrance, there's even a sculpture dedicated to his wife, a woman who's been his co-pilot in life.
Next month I'll have 49 years of a good marriage. She's a good woman. I'd marry her all over again if I could,
He plans to have their ashes buried there, side by side, at the end of their ride together. But this display isn't just about him. It's a tribute to all veterans, a reminder that their sacrifices should never be forgotten.
I have friends that didn't make it back from Vietnam. I felt like I had to do it, to show respect and honor my fellow veterans.
And his display is open to the public. Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
Beautiful. In the latest health update from the Vatican, Pope Francis remains in good spirits while he rests and recovers at Casa Santa Marta. The Holy See reports the pontiff is in stable condition. His blood work came back normal and chest x-rays show improvement in his lungs. The Pope is continuing his various therapies prescribed by his doctors while his motor skills, breathing and voice are getting better. He is still using high-flow oxygenation whenever necessary, mainly at night. For the time being, Pope Francis has not had any visitors besides health personnel and his closest collaborators. While the Vatican has confirmed the Holy Father will not physically take part in the general audience or this weekend's Jubilee of the Sick and Healthcare Workers, the Holy See is expected to announce his arrangements for the Sunday Angelus on Friday. And it remains unclear if and how the Pope will participate in any Holy Week and Easter liturgical celebrations. Turning now to a Catholic Charities case that has made its way to the Supreme Court. The highest court in the land heard oral arguments from the Wisconsin Bureau of the agency on March 31st, which argued a decision by their state Supreme Court discounted its religious identity. That court ruled the Bureau is not exempt from its state unemployment benefits program, since its services to the less fortunate are offered to people of all faiths. Counsel for the Catholic Charities argued by that standard, quote, Mother Teresa might not qualify. The agency is seeking the exemption so it can instead participate in the church's unemployment pay program. Finally, tonight, students at St. Adalbert Catholic Academy are celebrating the Lenten season by recreating Christ's Road to Calvary. Fourth grade students at the Elmhurst School made their own Stations of the Cross using different mediums to give their own take on the 14-step devotion. That included creating the 8th station out of cutout art to show when Jesus meets the women of Jerusalem, and using Play-Doh to tell the story of the 10th station when Jesus is stripped of his clothes. The Lenten lesson is meant to inspire the students to pray like those on the diocesan pilgrimage. Do you have a story idea from your school or parish, or do you want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number 718-517-3122. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.